BTG, they have already played on this before, and they have a pretty decent ratio, as you can see here. It's once again, small sample size, take with a pinch of salt, but 2-0 is still enough to get them 3 points if it was all in one game.
Yeah, and keep in mind that BTG took maps of teams like CE and SBT, the absolute tip-top of the standings of the league. So, really cool to see how that turned out for them. Actually, they lost 2-0 against SBT last week. I lied. But they took a map of CE, which is still very respectable.
Indeed, they did. I'm just checking to see what maps those were on. Okay, it was it was Sky Temple that they took one against CE. Soa they won Dragonshire. Okay, so it looks like the Spider Queen ones were against other teams like the One and KT, for example.
Gotcha. Now, nothing new here. The exact same drafting pattern. You just got to take a look at it. I mean, BTG is like, well, if it ain't broke, we don't need to fix it. But Hots Lady, I would love to see. I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, the early game and mid game, for the most part, in the previous match went very well. So maybe their approach to this draft is like, okay, guys, we're going to play the exact same thing. We're just going to make sure that we do not go for those macro misplays towards the later stages of the game. And we got this in the bag. What do you make of this draft so far, Tetcher? Do you agree with it, or do you not like it?
It's familiar, for starters. Also, if you can hear the beeping in the background, please ignore it. My aircon has freaked out for some reason. It'll calm down, I expect. But the Valor bans are new and interesting, for starters. It's not something we have seen up to now too much. But it is nice to see, because it means we're seeing different assassins at least get a little bit more priority. But this is more of a, not just it works so well with Tassadar, the option is you can ban Tassadar or Valor for that combo. This is a targeted ban against 365, who very much likes that Valor.
Here we go. The Vala still a dominant force, and I love the fact that BTG adjusted here, taking the Lunara away from the enemy team and making sure that Uther won't have to suffer from all that poison damage again. The thing is, unlike Cursed Hollow, if you lose the early mid game in terms of map objectives like BTG did last game, they would be in some serious trouble, because having, like, let's say 2 or 3 web viewer waves coming right in succession against you is probably going to cost you all those forts and maybe even a keep. And it's going to be much harder to come back here than, let's say, getting 2 curses in a row on Cursed Hollow.
Yeah, there's only a couple teams who were able to come back from like losing the objective repeatedly, and that was usually Fnatic back when Dignitas was called Bob ? And the actually no, pre that even, but the whole idea was just running Lunar with Natural Perspective and Thornwood Vine and just clearing the web weavers before they could do anything, just with anything that did bonus damage to non-heroes.
Yeah, I think Team Zealot also pulled off quite the hold on the weekend on Tomb of Spider Queen, when they were basically down to only 1 keep. I think they might have even lost all the keeps, but still refused to die and came back in glorious fashion. So that's always something you need to be on the lookout for. Tomb of the Spider Queen is a very popular map for a reason, and I think the fact that you don't automatically lose the game when you lost all of your keeps is one of them, compared to a map like, let's say, Battlefield of Eternity, where losing both keeps is very, very hard, almost impossible to recover from. It's just a really cool map.
Couldn't agree more. That is very, very cool indeed. So, second bans, BTG removing the Sonya. Removing that from Lias is a pretty solid ban out. Especially on this map, really strong solo laner. And there is the response, getting rid of that Ragnaros. Now, we have seen it several times coming in from BTG. So, it's a fair ban. It's a safe ban. It's one of the, again, a really solid solo laner. Ragnaros can actually protect 2 lanes if he gets a really good Molten Core on this map. So, works out pretty nicely.
Yeah, we saw the Ragnaros as one of Fish's most successful and most played heroes, especially on, of course, Tomb of the Spider Queen, which is, I think, the only map next to Brex's Holdout, perhaps, where you could still see, you know, the Fire Lord being deployed on a regular basis, simply due to the fact that he has tons of wave clear and he can stall out in safe forts quite handsomely. But, you know, denying this threat and denying this go-to standard comfort pick for BTG is already a nice move, and really shows how much Hots Lady have done their homework.
Indeed, they are once again lowering the pick pool of Fish. To the point where I'm going to have to go to Master League to see what he's picked in the past. It's Stitches and Malthael. That's probably the fish pick.
Now, Tetra, I do want to mention something that has been happening and occurring over the last few playdays in the other HGC regions, especially Korea. Whenever a Malthael was locked in, especially with an Uther, whose heroic abilities combo so well together, the Divine Shield and, of course, the Tormented Souls, we tended to see a lot of Lucio being sort of reactivated and, being pulled off his early retirement, because Lucio's Sound Barrier counters the Tormented Souls very, very well. Because sometimes it's just not possible to shut down the Malthael. Sometimes you just need to sustain it all the way through, and Sound Barrier with those massive AoE shields is one of the two options. The other option would be a Turiel. We've seen this in China in the past already with a beautiful Sanctification. You clump up, you wait until the Tormented Souls is over, and then retaliate.
Yeah, and the Tyrael I kind of think would be a more preferable option here, just due to the fact that Lunara as well, and even Stitches with full slam build, is potentially too much poison damage for Lucio to keep up with in terms of healing. Let's find out, as Hot Sadie, time's up. It's going to be Dahaka and Karazim. They don't go with either. Karazim, though, still okay AoE healing.
Yeah.
If he goes for like a full heal build, maybe a cooldown reduction build. If not, then they need to burst down so fast that it does not matter.
So here's the thing.
Divine Shield, what they're going to do?
Yeah, what are they going to do? The thing about Karazim is that he's a melee support, and if you go for a lot of melees, basically they have a 3.5 melee composition if you count the Worgen form of Greymane. You're all going to get hit by that Tormented Soul, and Karazim is going to struggle a lot himself. I don't think the 7-sided is an option here. I really think he needs to go for the Palm. And then you have another problem. The Palm can sometimes interfere with Tassadar shields. If both supports have the same thought process and they both try to save the same target, the shields are going to prove to be a massive hindrance for that Palm to go off, right? So I do not like this Karazim. I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I do not like it.
It is unusual. Li Ming is the final pick. A little bit of burst damage and a bit of extra AP. No, I think this is a 2-0 to BTG. This is... I don't think that the Hot Sadie have brought the correct tools for the job.
Yeah, I'm a little bit skeptical as well. I think the Li Ming is basically just, you know, the cherry on top. It makes this draft super solid. Stitches is going to have so much follow-up burst potential at his disposal with the likes of Malthael and the Li Ming, of course. And there's also going to be plenty of CC as well. These Stitches hook into Uther Hammer of Justice. Fantastic. Now, can Hot Lady still pull it off? I mean, they still have a couple of very lethal weapons at their own disposal here, basically. The Tassadar Souls double support proves to be very successful, especially in China, where it usually originated from. With the Vala, though, but I still think they can pull it off.
They could definitely pull it off, but it's still so potentially difficult. Like I said, I am not down with this comp from Hot Lady. BTG, their comp, it has huge AoE. Yeah, Karazim's AoE healing. The only way I think they can get away with this is if they go for a Insight build. That's the only thing. They need cooldown reduction to just spam as much healing as possible, or they're going to die.
Actually true. So the Insight build once originated, or made popular at least in China by the godlike Alufel from CE, is definitely an option. Whenever you need to have strong cooldown reduction and strong sustained healing, this one could be your go-to build. But are we going to see it? We're going to find out in a bit. Game 2 between BGT and Hot Lady. Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. And once again, on the left-hand side, leading 1-0 against Hot Lady, it is Beyond the Game. With Aeon Li Ming this time, 619 on Stitches, Malthael being played by Fish, MJ going for the Uther, and ST rocking that Lunara.
Whereas on the right-hand side, currently 0-1 down, it is Hot Lady. And playing for them, it is going to be 365 on Greymane, again on Karazim, Elias on Tassadar, Kid on Dahaka, and Carlo is playing the Johanna. She has found her apprentice. It is Murky, who we have yet to see play this season. Maybe we will get lucky later on. As we begin the Tomb of the Spider Queen.
Now we see the Power Hungry coming in for Li Ming. Very cool to see because You know, Globe Talons in general, it is probably very safe to go for them when playing on Tomb of the Spider Queen. It is one of the smallest maps in terms of rotations and distances between the lanes, so that's basically the reason why we can draw a parallel here to Johanna. She went for the Region Master, which is something we normally never see on her. So already, first hook landed, stun follow-up immediately being applied as well, and already heavy damage coming out for Hot's Lady. Look at their health bars just melting with one Malthael E. They're definitely going to have to play around a lot of poison and damage over time in general. Carlo dropping really low.
Yeah, that sickly green color you can see on health bars and floating over heroes means that they are poisoned, and there is going to be many methods of poison in this game. There's going to be Stitches, who is going to be going for the full slam build, as we can already see. He's already taken a little bit of extra damage, and he does already apply a little bit of poison when he is hit to people in melee range, but now later on he's going to be adding it with slams. Of course, Lunara and Malthael, who's not really poison, we call it death over time. But it's still going to be a very green health bar game for Hot's Lady. By the way, Karasim still went with Iron Fist, valuing that movement speed and damage over extra healing or extra cooldown reduction, which would lead to extra healing.
Yeah, so the Iron Fist build, of course, is never truly bad. Don't get us wrong. Like, we were just mentioning that an inside build could have been maybe a way to play this if they wanted to go for the card team specifically. But the Iron Fist build, of course, has a lot of benefits as well. Hold that thought. Never mind. The Iron Skin popped in time. Johanna, safe for now. But the cool thing about the Iron Fist build in general is when the enemy team has a lot of squishies in the backline, most prominently like Lunara or the Li Ming, Karasim can oftentimes switch roles and become a melee assassin to really bully them out of a team fight, only to dash back into his allies and heal them. So that is the power and that is the beauty of playing Karasim against those kinds of combinations.
Yes, it is. Look at all that poison. Taz being forced to dimensional shift because he didn't want to even take the risk of getting caught out. Fish has found too many friends. Stitches comes in and is a good friend, body blocking that drag.
Yeah, what a guy.
What a guy.
What a nice guy.
Wrong team. As we do see A just clearing up the waves with ST here. You can see that is the Black Harvest coming in for Malthael, so he's going to want to be getting a little bit more involved with team fights. And Karasim is starting to... Oh, good Malthael. Drag, actually. Lots of damage coming in. It's fine. We'll survive. The camp denied. 365 trying to out-predict, but gets outplayed.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was HGC top-tier coordination. You saw how Malthael was being pressured by Kid on the Dahaka, yet none of his teammates actually tried to save him or tried to aid him because the call was made on the Greymane in the bottom lane, who was basically exposed, who was a very easy hook target, and they focused that sucker down and got themselves another kill. Malthael just escaping was beautiful as well. Oh, I love seeing plays like that, where every Hero League player would have made, okay, I'm going to help that Malthael because he's my friend and he's almost about to die. No, nobody helped him. Everyone went for the kill and they got rewarded handsomely for it. So cool to see BGG playing really well.
Completely agree. Even the Stitch's patience for not hooking it until Greymane had already attempted to juke once after that. Greymane had nowhere to go except towards the enemy. And as such, he got hooked and died. MJ, on the other hand, will drop down here. The 5-man rotation here. Able to finish off Uther and get even the kill count 1-1.
Yeah, tactical feeding coming in here from Uther, who was like well-metting his way into baiting the entire enemy team. Very well done, because the 5-man or 4-man gank on Uther left the top half of the map wide open, and as such, it was easy for Lunara to get that pay. Look at that, Uther, he's back again just in time for that first push of the game here with the Web Weavers, and as such, sometimes, you know, you can feed to win, and it's really cool to see those plays. Oh my god, 619, what are those hooks today? What have you had for breakfast, son?
Uther was not in position this time, though, and as such, 365. Welcome to Numbers versus Numbers. Maths Wars! As we do see 619. Pull him back after taking a little bit of harassment. It is the Eternal Retaliation, by the way, for Johanna, so just going to be spamming out those stuns, as again, eats a lot of poison. Just dashes out in time before damage. We do also see again, has... excuse me, hiccup. Slightly adjusted his build, going for the life ally. He does still want to give his team a little bit of extra healing. He just really values that movement speed for his own safety, and so far it has been helpful.
Yeah, very cool to see the live ally coming in instead of the earth ally, which is normally the go-to when the enemy team has the likes of Tracer, Illidan, or maybe Tychus, because it's so good against enemy basic attacks. For magic damage though, and especially poison damage over time, I totally agree the live ally is going to have a little bit more value. Now, BTG establishing a lot of map dominance. Beautiful damage on almost any keep on the map. However, they don't destroy one, but look at that. All the towers benefited them so much and netted them so much experience overall. Beautiful done.
Indeed, fish. Nicely done. Easily juked. And the Webweaver soul cages open up again, ready for both teams. Ditches once again, landing a hook. Damage wasn't there this time, but the CC is usually enough just to keep the pressure on, as ST does take some damage from Karazim. But Bodybox onto Kid. This is very bad news. Oh, beautiful hook from over the wall, but Cleanse gets him out of there. Then needs to attack some minions to get that cooldown down.
Cleanse is pretty good, especially if used in time after a sticky licky tongue by Dehaka. Speaking of Cleanse, by the way, the new Moralis does no longer have access to it, which renders the number of supports who still have Cleanse to, I think now 3. Lily, Brightwing, and Rhaegar. Is there? Uther, of course, has his own version of it.
Hand of Protection.
Hand of Protection, yeah. I think
Lily,
that's it, though,
Brightwing, Rhaegar. I think you are right. I'm just scrolling through. Mouth no longer has it.
No.
Lucio has his own version at 20, which is rough, to say the least. Yeah, only 3. You are correct.
There we go. I mean, Karazim, technically speaking, does have a multiple
there's a
multi-cleanse, right?
There's a lot of sorter cleanses in the form of Hand of Protection, in the form of Cleansing Touch, in the form of Lucio's one, which I can't pronounce.
And that one is never seen, to be honest. It might as well just not exist.
Symphasia or Devatica? I don't know. It's hard. Malthael's dead.
Oh, he lost a lot of gems too, man. That is quite rough.
Also, I will argue that one is taken quite a bit. It was played in Heroes Lounge a couple days ago, and I called it because it was the exact China build we've seen from Lucio before. The Scouting Laser! As we do see Lunara, but not Lunara, sorry, Li Ming just burning a Disintegrate to get a little scout.
Actually kind of cool to have this Disintegrate available here. It can be used, as you said, as a scouting tool, but also to interrupt. Just, you know, very safely from a long distance, interrupt those gems from being turned in. For now, though, I think we have the first Webweaver wave coming in for Hot's Lady. And look at that, Tetra, we totally forgot about it. The Falling Sword on Johanna making a comeback here. So there's going to be a lot of burst damage coming in. I'm just not sure if you want to go for that in that game. I don't know.
Isolation, go for the throat, 7-sided strike, Falling Sword. If someone is alone at any point, boom, they're gonna detonate. This does also explain the fact why we're seeing the movement speed condemn as well, because once Johanna's in, she needs a way out. That little bit of extra movement speed might be enough. Isolation is already used. 7-sided strike, bye-bye, Malthael. Once again, they find Isolation living up to its name, finds a target, isolates them, gets a kill.
And they only had to burn 2 relatively low cooldown heroic abilities, the 7-sided and the Isolation, whereas the longer cooldown ones like the Falling Sword and the Tassadar Archon are still left available. And slowly but surely, all that early game momentum is being brought to a halt here because Hot's Lady are picking up some pace themselves, going in for that push in the bottom. I think BGG is in no position to really contest that. They're way too slow, and the ladies have taken a lead, Tetra.
Yes, they have, trying to live up to their name of, well, live up to their reputation of the 1-1 team as Carlo eats an orb. Carlo almost is enough for a first phase turn-in on his own. Jesus.
Wow. 45 gems in his possession. Now it's 48. Scratch that. And have we seen a single good Gorge so far? I don't think so. So Hot's Lady has really done a marvelous job at keeping themselves safe and not exposing themselves unnecessarily to all those Stitch Slugs anymore. Kind of cool.
Indeed, Stitch taking a little damage and getting his turn interrupted. He needs to do the same to Carlo, who now has 48. Nice attempt by Karazim to try and body block the turn-in prevention there. That was really cool. Not able to do so. Flashlight denial. Both these teams just going for the good old-fashioned spam turn-in until it works strategy. And it is going to be BTG who comes out ahead in that. Another blue turn-in on the way. My Seasons has attempted to teach me how to say that level 20 Lucio. Sinus Thesia, Auditiva.
Here we go.
Maybe.
Do you know what do you know what it stands for?
Synthetic audio, I would assume.
So synesthesia is basically, or synesthesia, depending on how you want to pronounce it, is basically the phenomenon when people use their senses. Let's say they hear something, but instead of hearing it, they... I'm going to explain it afterwards. Okay, BTG, don't let me...
Never mind. Tormented
Okay,
souls again. Okay,
I'll take
continue.
No, I'm not going to continue. I'm going to wait until this web viewer race is finished before Teacher Kendrick is going to sound smart.
Okay, as we do see the Web Weaver waves pushing in, that went very quickly. We've yet to see this Falling Sword come into effect as Johanna was in top lane trying to clear. There's the front wall down, and they are going straight for this keep. Web Weaver's already quite low due to some nice CG from Tassadar. They're not going to be able to grab a keep unless this Web Weaver summons some backup spiders. It will, but it's a bit too late.
That was actually beautifully done, and it couldn't have come at a worse time for Hearts Lady to lose 2 members just like that. Look at all the damage that has been dealt. The top lane fort no longer available. Middle also took a lot of damage. The tower lane has been annihilated, and the keep took a little bit of damage. And most importantly, in terms of the overall XP count, BGG is now massively ahead. But Carlo did a wonderful job turning the majority of his gems in and allowing his team to potentially come back, because 16 is nowhere near to be found. But quickly before more action is going to escalate,
while they spawn, teach me.
Synesthesia is the phenomenon when people have a certain sense, like let's say they hear something, but instead of just hearing it, they also taste it or see a certain color. So it's a misconception with some of their senses. But it's not really harmful, it's just a nice bonus to have, I will. So for example, if you had synesthesia and I told you red, you could basically taste something salty.
Okay, that's interesting. I'm trying to work out how that equates to cleanse, quite frankly. I'm sure maybe that's the auditiva part of it.
Exactly. So people listen to Lucio's beats and they're gonna feel free and just, you know, so unburdened. Maybe that's the... Maybe.
But that's cool.
It just sounds cool, to be honest.
I have learned. Yeah. I learn. What's that Hearthstone card? Knowledge is power, and I know a lot. As we see the Web Weaver getting completely destroyed. This has been a really good clear for BTG. Very little pressure has been put onto them by Hot Lady this time.
All right, there we go. Hot Lady, though, on the spot here. But BTG, they know. They immediately send Stitches up there. Yeah, it's a trap. And BTG is not triggering it here. There we go.
BTG, the Stitches was going so far in, I thought he was actually going to attempt it. But no, he was just making absolutely sure they weren't like hiding at the back of the boss pit, which would be very sneaky. I've waited for a team to try that for a while.
Tetra, this is a constant back and forth of web viewers, but no keeps are falling yet. It's like, you know, now it's Hot Lady's turn. Now BTG has a lot of gems again. They're going to pay again. Like, this is crazy. I don't think I've ever seen this many web viewers in such a short period of time.
They are just spamming them in. They're just going in. It's going to be another set of web weavers here. As Kid gets his in. 619, not in. 619. Was in time. There's the Gorge. They've turned in. They might get a kill. This could be beautiful. Burrow, if he can tunnel out, he could tunnel out here. Stun's already gone. No, his team has arrived. That could be enough. Lasers down. Kid gets dropped. Tormented Souls in the back. And this will be another fight for BTGs. The slowing slam. Absolutely beautiful. Falling Sword as an escape tool. And that's not what you want a Falling Sword for.
No, it's basically the same story like having a defensive leap. You normally don't pick that heroic ability to get out of harm's way. You pick that heroic ability to put the harm to the enemy team. But yeah, in that case, of course, it's totally fine to basically save your life using heroic ability in a very inconvenient, or I should say, unusual manner. So, but yeah, the web weavers are knocking on the door here. The middle one is arriving, and so is the top web weaver. So, with one man down, actually, Dahaka just respawned. It's going to be a little bit rough for Hot Slayer to defend because there's also a lot of poke available for BTG. Don't forget about the hooks.
The hook did just land. In comes the seven-sided strike with Li Ming already being absolutely destroyed. Greymane going deep, and the burst damage finally coming to fruition for Hot Lady as Fish is doing everything he can to evade his doom, but he has dropped. Uther has returned home to tell the story of the fact that, of the absolute wrecking that they just suffered at the Hot Lady base.
Wow. I did not expect Hot Lady to tear it up like that. To be honest, the Gorge wasn't used. Maybe Stitches could have used that on the Kharazim to save the Lunara. But yeah, it's basically something you have to decide within milliseconds. And maybe Stitches was like, no, Lunara's going to get away. But then, of course, that's the power of Way of the 100 Fists Kharazim. We talked about that at the beginning of the game. Look at all the damage. He plays like a melee assassin. He goes and heals 7 sides out. And now look at the Lunara. And he gets that kill like a champ.
Li Ming just absolutely detonated there. Uther's already sorted off. He can't do anything about this. He's just left. Also, quick thing, Blessed Hammer coming in for Carlo. Now, literally, I still don't understand his ability. The only thing I can think of is scouting.
It deals a little bit of damage. It's nice for additional wave clear, but overall, it's very, very minimal damage. But
it's the same level as Imposing Presence. It's such a good ability, Imposing Presence. Even though just drop it on Lunara, you get so much value.
Let's see. Let's see. Maybe it's going to deal a little something. Look at that. The hammers keep on spinning, dealing a tiny amount of damage.
It didn't even out-damage the healing that ST has from a globe, as we do the ST. Trying to poke down the enemy team, doesn't want to get stunned by the boss, just dodges.
Dehaka not with Hot Lady. That is the reason why they're kind of hesitant and reluctant. Oh my goodness, that dodge was beautiful. The hook connected already on Carlos, but he was like peacing out to the skies, flying away like an eagle. Beautifully done.
Getting out of there with that falling sword. Very nice. Now, falling sword, we both agree that it's not the most preferable to use it as an escape, but when you get escapes like that, it's pretty okay.
Absolutely worth it.
It's fine.
Absolutely worth it. I've never seen anything like that. I mean, we can basically say up to this point, Falling Sword has seen more value as an escape tool than the original design, which is dive into the enemy's backline and melt some faces. But hey, we're not going to complain, right? Hot Lady took a lead after all, but still, Tetra, after so many web weavers, not only must the queen, the Spider Queen, feel a little bit annoyed, but also no keeps have fallen yet. Can you believe it?
Not quite yet. There's low keeps on the side of Hot Lady. Right now, BTG, all of theirs are pretty sustained. But we're seeing another turn in the attempt with 10 short currently for Hot Lady, whereas BTG are actually quite a bit away. As both teams are now racing towards level 20, and that looks like what will be the next big point of this game due to the Hot Lady. All their lanes are pushed up, so they unfortunately can't grab the rest of the gems they need for a full turn-in.
Yep, and which talent are we going to see at level 20? Sometimes for the Johannas in particular, when they go Falling Sword, they like to take the upgrade.
It's so good.
At level 20,
it deals reduction.
Yeah, it cooldown reduction, and of course deals a massive amount of AoE damage underneath with those charged lightnings coming out here. We're talking, of course, about the Heaven's Fury. It's so strong. But would you give up Indestructible? I don't know.
Well, we will see. He hasn't really needed it so far. Hot Lady were able to find to get their turn in. Other level 20s, Hunter's
never lucky.
Transgression, Indestructible, well. The Contagion, the spreading isolation there, and the Twilight Archon.
Yeah, Indestructible, of course, allows Johanna to maybe finally use the Falling Sword as an offensive tool, because she's not going to have to, you know, get out of harm's way too much, because she's now really, really tanky. Level 20 now has arrived, though, for BTG as well. We see Redemption for Uther, very important. Oh, is that abolish magic for Lunara?
That's abolish magic, and it's a cleanse and self-cleanse, removal of damage over time, which they don't really have any of, but that cleanse could be pretty huge. Having 2 cleanses is always nice. Tal Rushers coming in for Li Ming, that extra spell damage, and Stitches just wants some sustain. He does not want to do the crazy blinks. Malthael, he wants to come back. It's right near the end game now. Basically, any team fight could be the last team fight. So having no one can stop Death could be huge here if he gets burst down. And it gives the opportunity to do stuff like this. Going deep into the backline, gets Divine Shielded. Trying to just get down 365. Trying to drop him. Continues to chase. Falling Sword having to be used as an escape once again. Greymane still alive. Leaping Strike, though. Lunara's in the background too. And BTG are crushing this fight. Fish finally goes down. But guess what? He's back. Guess what about Uther? He's also back. All the kills Hot Lady achieved are nullified as Carlo is taken down. Eventually, catch up, Lunara. There we go.
Oh my god!
Well, wait, Indestructible. I thought it had already happened. Oh, this is gonna... There we
Did you
go.
see the timing from A as well? Just finishing off the Johanna in style with that teleport.
Yeah, that
Beautifully
was
done.
so cool.
Yeah, really coolly done. And go ahead, go ahead.
That was a disaster.
Yeah,
they got
it was.
Malthael eventually after he just put so much pressure onto their backline. He revived.
And he's
They
back.
killed
He's
Uther.
back, yes.
He got value out of his trait and he revived. They got nothing. And as such, it's 5 versus 1-0 on the core. And the core is going down. That's going to be a 2-0 going over to BTG.
Course falling rather slowly though, because there's not those heavy hitters in their team like Illidan or Grayman, but it is going to fall eventually. Even Grayman can do nothing about it. Stitches takes one last hungry bite. Grayman doesn't even show up on the ending screen. Mission successful, and well played by BTG, taking another clean 2-0 victory, maximizing their chances of actually making it to BlizzCon if they keep it up like that.
Yep, they move up to 12 points, which is the current score of both CE and SPT. If those two teams go 1-1 against each other at the end of today, then they will only be 1 point ahead of BTG, meaning that the next 2 weeks will be, next 2 days, and then the next 2 weeks will be exceptionally important for BTG. Sorry, no, next one day, because we do not have China tomorrow.
Yeah.
Will be important for them, but they're putting themselves in a great position. If not, they will at least be tied second place if either of those teams go 2-0.